Hi, thank you for watching. You're watching a video about the Platform Project. I'm hoping to introduce you to what we do as an organisation, how we develop young people and why we do what we do in the Swindon area. My name's Sadie Sharp and I launched the organisation about 3.5, 4 years ago. So we're relatively new in the grand scheme of things. We are exclusively based in Swindon and we are a community interest company. So we are a not-for-profit social enterprise. Now, we were set up predominantly with the view of trying to reduce the number of young people in Swindon who are unemployed or at risk of becoming unemployed. So really around the working on those who are NEETs or those who maybe are at risk of becoming, disengaged, falling through the proverbial cracks, and those who come from particularly sort of deprived and disadvantaged backgrounds. Now, what we do is slightly different to a lot of other youth development companies. We don't provide training as such. What we do is we provide experiential learning and development for young people based on youth enterprise, because we believe if they can learn how to run a business and work for themselves and potentially learn how to get self-employed, but also develop a range of really transferable work experience skills and experimenting with different careers whilst running a youth-led business, it's a much more engaging and enlivening activity than potentially expecting them to sort of sit and be taught when maybe that model hasn't worked for them up till now. So what we do is we run what we call an experiential training workplace. So we have young people who come to us, but instead of learning things, what they're doing is they are doing these things. And we have a number of different youth-led businesses that we run. So we do everything from them making printed goods for client briefs. They run a youth magazine and they run and they make all the decisions and produce the content. We do events where they sell the goods that they make, but also they are guided around maybe starting up their own business and doing things like fundraising and projects and work experiences. So our various different projects all work together within the internship. So if a young person comes to work with us, they will work on a number of different projects depending on their interests. So we have a digital media agency, for example, where young people who are quite technically enabled might come to us and learn how to do social media management, graphic design and building websites, but then also maybe work on our youth magazine where they're applying those skills to managing a blog, but designing web pages, for example, for our online version of the magazine. We might have some people who have a really keen interest in making things or designing t-shirts. So we can work with those young people and help them get set up as a self-employed person, making money off their designs. So really trying to kind of hone and play in on their interests. But what we do within those projects in the internship is they are also developing a whole range of really transferable basic foundational skills. So things like working together as a team and setting their own goals. They'll manage their time. They will look at developing their progress against it. They all use Teams and really try and get them using professional level software and things like that. So they learn project management skills. They're building actual experiences on the CV whilst they're working on those projects with us. So the interesting thing about our model is because it's experiential, it's kind of acted as a bit of an accelerator. So we've actually found that between 80 and 90% of the young people who come and work with us, the majority of which are NEETs and disadvantaged and particularly quite far from the employment market, 80 to 90% of them do leave us within between 2 and 6 months to go into further education, training or self-employment. So we're really quite proud of that statistic, and we think it is because it's experiential and it really plays on their strengths and interests. So we also have a mentoring service as well. So for most young people, to help them take that step into work, we will pair them with a volunteer mentor from industry who works in the area of work that the young person is interested in. So if we have someone who's interested in marketing potentially, we'll pair them up with a mentor who is in a marketing career to really help them build their network, look at their CV, how they can build their broader development and help improve them moving into things like work shadowing, work experiences, and hopefully helping them broker and source roles. We also have a number of employer partnerships as well. So for those young people who are ready to take their next steps, we actually actively find those roles for them, whether it be sort of volunteering to start with, an internship, or actually having prioritized access to those entry-level interview opportunities. Now, there's a couple of logistics just to bear in mind. What we do say is the young people we work with will work with us up to about 6 months of attending our youth business sessions, and they will normally do a couple of days a week just to make sure we engage with them at a high enough level to really get them to buy in and develop to what we're doing. And it looks and feels very much like a work day, just an awful lot more fun, flexible and supported as such. So they set all of their development goals, they're provided with a mentor who helps them take those next steps, and we bring a whole load of people in from industry to do things like career talks and develop them in specialist skills like marketing and graphic design and web design and all those sorts of things, as well as providing those work experience placements where possible. So we tend to work with those who are typically aged between about 16 and 21, so those in that transitions phase of life, and hopefully try and get them back into work, education or employment. But we can be fairly flexible because the majority of our funding is not age dependent. We do tend to have a slight parameter around the needs of those that we work with. We work really well with those who are what we call sort of low needs, and we're really looking for things like work experience in order to help them take those next steps, getting clarity, building their CV, but also those that are maybe the middling needs. So maybe confidence, mental health, anxiety, those who are maybe at risk of falling through the cracks and taking maybe a slightly less constructive route. So those maybe from sort of deprived backgrounds, those at risk of offending, and those who maybe have a slightly sort of abrasive attitude that maybe needs kind of redirecting before they're necessarily ready to work in a professional environment. But we can't necessarily work with those who are particularly high level of needs around things like high levels of learning needs and such, just because we're not a specialist provider and we can only work with them usually for about 6 months. So if there are any referrals that you would like to make to us, we're more than happy to have a conversation about somebody and make sure it's the right program for them. But if you do have an interest, please do just send it through to info@platformproject.co.uk and we will go through the sign up process with you. So any other questions, please by all means feel free to email, and hopefully we will be hearing from you soon. Thanks very much.